guys, it's Miharu, and I prefer the reignited version of Hunter. Now, before you point your torches and pitchforks at me for making such an insanely unthinkable statement, let me explain. Hunter was never a favorite of mine to begin with. I mean, I didn't dislike him, but he annoyed me greatly, way more so than Moneybags. Want this important item you need to stop the bad guy and save our world? Correction, my world? Well, too bad. Play this dumb minigame first, and then maybe I'll consider giving it to you. Seriously, who does that? Well, that's the one thing about him that didn't change, but there are other factors that I think make him a much more likable character in the remake. First things first, let's get his design out of the way. I really don't see why anyone hates it. At least he looks like the animal he's supposed to be. Yeah, he's got weird french fry fingers, but he's also got tear stripes. You know, the main facial trait of a cheetah. Then there's the fact that his bow and quiver are now a permanent part of his look. What's wrong with that? He's pictured with them in a lot of early artwork and renders. Wouldn't surprise me if that was always meant to be a mainstay, but had to be removed because of limitations, resulting in it making only one appearance in Fracture Hills. Whenever I hear anyone discuss their distaste for Reignited Hunter, they more often than not bring up his voice. Greg Berger's role as Hunter in the originals is iconic, what with that slow way of speaking and oddly placed emphasis on certain words.
Hey, you nailed all of the targets!
His performance established the character as what some might call a stoner. Robbie Daymond, on the other hand, gives him more of a 90s skater/surfer dude vibe, with a faster, cooler style of speech, which has been compared to Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hey Spyro, I found this gladiator training arena that also makes for a pretty cool skate park.
Perhaps a tad generic by today's standards, but not bad in general. But in doing that, was the character completely changed? In the original, at least in Spyro 2, I always saw him as a cowardly lion type, someone who was clearly afraid but willing to help out a friend in need, or withholding aside. And by Spyro 3, most of that fear seems to have vanished, but he's more or less the same. There are a few changes made to the way Hunter expresses himself. He definitely seems goofier for sure, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in his case. He's a lot less laid back and more athletic, as evident by his idle animations, and that's a fine fit for a cheetah. In fact, there are a couple details added to his first scenes that I think add an extra bit of flair to his attitude. When Spyro asks,
"You got a problem with that pussycat?"
we see him about to talk back before Ripto blasts them. He wasn't gonna take that sass. And then there's this.
Hey, I could do that. Why doesn't the dragon just torch Ripto?
He really doesn't want Spyro hogging all the glory. It would explain his constant need to play keep away with the orbs. Something I never quite understood is why he's the tutorial character. He doesn't know the first thing about dragons, and now suddenly he's an expert on how to glide? Then again, he did make that flying contraption for himself. Maybe this is all about jealousy? But I digress. To be honest, it's these in-game encounters that made him more likable in my opinion. Yes, it's still annoying to hear the same line of dialogue over and over every time you fail one of his stupid challenges, but I actually found it more tolerable. Again, his original voice and line delivery is so unique and recognizable, but I always felt that he was talking down to me as the player. Highly subjective, of course, but I didn't feel that way in Reignited. He felt more like my buddy as the game progressed. An idiot, sure, but a buddy nonetheless. To sum it up, he didn't make me want to punch him in the face nearly as often. Now you may be asking yourself, why did I have a problem with the softening in Bianca's character, but it's fine for Hunter? Well, that's because he's supposed to be your friend, your guide in this strange new world you've been thrown into without warning. Sure, Reignited puts a little spin on it by having him seem like a bit of a jerk at first, as mentioned earlier, but he quickly backs off once Alora throws some truth in his face.
Hunter, you can't even keep track of your running shoes. How can we trust you with 14 talismans?
It's almost as if he has to learn to work with you just as much as you with him. So what is the issue? Is it that he's too friendly? No, we just established he has a cocky side and displays it outright. Maybe his fear is too amplified? Well, he certainly is afraid, but at least he has the guts to actually try and stop Ripto from taking the power crystal. Some people would say that was part of the joke, him just sitting there telling him to give it back, but to be honest, the flashy animations fit better with his new energetic portrayal. Hunter's not the best when it comes to conflict, when it doesn't involve saving a pretty girl. I've heard some say he's too dumb, as if the original wasn't. And then I've heard that he's too much of a comic relief character. Call me crazy, but isn't that what he was always supposed to be? I guess you could make the argument that his humor was more relaxed in the original, while more pronounced in the remake, but that can be said for a majority of his quirks. Basically, what it all comes down to is that he's different. No, he's not the Hunter we grew up with. but while it seemed everyone else had been toned down in Reignited, he was actually toned up? I would even go so far as to say the exaggerations to his character in the remake give him more personality, or at least that it helps properly express all his emotions. So you may disagree, but to me, this is who he should have been back in 1999. This is a character I would have really liked as a kid, and I think that's the most important thing to take away here. Hell, I would have liked everything about this remake as a kid, no questions asked. But to see Hunter specifically, whom I was never crazy about, finally portrayed in a way that makes my inner child happy, that's all I need to say. I prefer the new over the old. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below why you like or dislike Hunter and Reignited, as well as give me suggestions for my next character analysis. As always, don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, this is Miharu, signing off.